Hello everybody and welcome to my tutorial and demo playthrough of my solo AI variant for Nucleum. This will be a bot versus bot playthrough, so I'll be going pretty quickly and hopefully it'll give you a really good sense of how this bot runs. First, you want to set up the game normally for 2 players, giving the bot all pieces of a certain color, except you only need 1 income marker. So first of the few changes to setup is that you will put that income marker on the 0 space of the scoring track, which is used to track the victory point income for the bot. The second thing is that you'll take one of its reserved milestone markers and place it on the 5 space of the scoring track. This will be used to track the achievement tokens it collects throughout the game, and I call this the achievement tracker. You do not need to give it a player board or an experiment board, but you do need to give it a set of starting tiles, but you can exclude the special directive tile. Just place these in a face-down stack randomly. Stack its buildings according to type with level 1 on top, and keep its supply of turbines, mines, and workers nearby. And last, the bot does not start with any thalers. You will, however, need to download and print out the 13-card action deck, which will make all the choices for the bot. Along with that is a bot reference card that you can place nearby. The game does play according to the normal 2-player rules, so the endgame will occur once 3 of the endgame conditions are met. So let's just start. Now I have stacked the decks a little bit to show you all the elements you need to see first, but then after that it's going to be completely random. So on the bot's turn, they will take exactly 2 actions using this action deck. The fronts of the cards will show the actions that the bot will take, and the backs of the cards show the decisions for those actions. So the first thing you do on the bot's turn is take the top card of the action deck, placing it to the left, and you will take the top action of that card. As you see here, the arrow points to it. So this is a subsidized action of it gaining 1 victory point income. So to take this action, simply move its income marker 1 step. For its second action, you'll take the top card of the action deck, flip it over and place it to the right. And here you'll take the bottom action of this card. So this one is gaining 2 achievement tokens. When the bot gains or loses achievement tokens, simply move its achievement tracker the appropriate amount of steps. And that's the end of the first turn of the game, so just take the played action cards and discard them to some discard pile. And if the deck is run out, meaning there's only 1 more card left, the bot will reset. Now I'll explain resetting a little bit later. Now it's the blue bot's turn, so we're going to take the top action card, placing it to the left, taking the top action of that card. So again, this is a subsidized action of it gaining 2 thalers, so just simply give it 2 thalers. Now it never spends these thalers ever. It gains thalers from its action cards, and if you use some of its turbines, it will also gain a thaler, just like normal. Each thaler is worth 1 point to the bot at the end of the game. Okay, blue bot's second action, take the top card of the action deck, placing it to the right, taking the bottom action, and this is again involving achievement tokens. This time though, it will lose 1 achievement token, so just move its achievement tracker back 1 step. Remember to discard those 2 played action cards, and that's the end of its turn. So yellow bot's first action of the turn is develop. So when it develops, it will take the leftmost or rightmost tile from the market, determined by the decision card, box A. In box A, there are 2 arrows, 1 big and 1 small, but for the develop action, all that matters is the right or left facing arrow. Since there's a leftward facing arrow on this card, we're going to take the leftmost tile from the market and just place it face down on top of its stack. And now the second action of this bot's turn is again another develop action, but this time it shows a ×2 symbol. So all that means is it will take the 2 rightmost or leftmost tiles from the market. So again, looking at the decision card in box A, it shows a rightward facing arrow, so that means we'll take the 2 rightmost tiles from the market. So take those 2 rightmost tiles from the market, placing them face down on the stack, and the order does not matter. So now it's the blue bot's turn, and we are going to do an industrialize action. So when the bot has no networks on the board, just like a player, the first mine, turbine, or building can be placed anywhere on the map. So for mines, the building priority will be biggest bonus, then non-red spaces, then red spaces. If there are ever multiple options, look at box A again, and this time only look at the big arrow. So it will prioritize the rightmost, leftmost, uppermost, or bottommost mine space on the board. So looking at the board, there are plenty of spaces open, but again, it prioritizes the biggest bonus. So these 3 spaces have the biggest bonus, and this one's a non-red space, so it prioritizes that one. Just place one of its mines on that space, and you don't need to give it any uranium. So the next action for this bot is one of the few cards that actually shows 2 options for an action on the bottom. On this card, it's 2 victory point income or urbanization. So all this means is it will take the action that is done the least of. If it's tied, it takes the action shown on the left. Well, we already know that it hasn't built any buildings yet, so that's 0 for urbanization. But this bot also has 0 victory point income. So in this case, it will gain 2 victory point income. Remember to move that income marker the appropriate amount of steps. Back to Yellow Bot's turn, and it also wants to industrialize, but they want to build a turbine. So the main priorities with turbines are power plants with nucleums, non-red spaces, red spaces. Again, if there's ever a tie, you'd look at the large arrow in box A. And like I said before, if the bot does not have any networks on the board, the first mine, turbine, or building can be placed anywhere on the map. So at the start of the game, there's only one city with a nucleum, so it places its turbine in that city. So Yellow's second action is urbanization. So with urbanization, now you will look at box B of the decision card. Box B shows 2 things. First on the left is a type priority list. And to the right is a map showing which cities it wants to build in. First priority is the one that is circled. Second priority is the larger sized number. And then the final priority will be the smaller sized number. So looking at the map here on the decision card, the circled city is 8. There are building spaces available in City 8, so it'll build there. But they do not have a network connection to City 8 yet. So this is when the bot will place a rail to establish a connection to that city. The bot's first priority will always be completing a double railway if it can, but most of the time you'll need to know where it's going to place its rail. So now we're going to look at box A again at both arrows. In this box, it shows a big upward arrow and a small rightward arrow. So pretty simple, you're going to be going around the city's perimeter looking for the first empty rail space, going in those directions on that card. So the first direction was a big arrow up, so this first priority will be this north rail space. Just take the top tile from its stack, place a worker on top, and place that rail right in that space, establishing a connection to that city. So continuing on with that urbanization action, now it has a connection to that city, it will build in that city. Just like mines and turbines, it wants to build in non-red spaces first. So make note of which types are required for those spaces and check the priority chart to know which space it's going to fill. So in this case, it's going to build on that housing space. So all you have to do is take the top building of that type, place it on that space in its energized state. So this bot does not take any energized actions, they just automatically start energized. Okay, so now it's the blue bot's turn, and the blue bot also wants to urbanize. Now you see here on the decision card, it shows the special decision card. It says use the current action card as its own decision card, flip it over to use its decision side, then flip it back when finished. Now we do need to use the decision card because we need to know where does it want to build. So let's flip it over and let's look at box B again. So in box B it shows City 8 is circled, so this bot also wants to build in City 8. Now remember, if City 8 was already filled or can't build in City 8 for whatever reason, it would go on to City 1, and if that one was invalid as well, we'd go on to City 2. First thing that we see in City 8 is there is a space available to build on, but the blue bot needs to gain access to the city since it's not a part of its network yet. So all we have to do is look at box A of the decision card again. Looking at the arrows, there's a big arrow pointing up and a small arrow pointing to the left. Now remember, the first priority though is if it can complete a double railway, that's what it will do first. But since there isn't any incomplete double railways yet, we're going to go around the perimeter of this city, starting in the up direction, going to the left, looking for the first empty space. So this space is already filled. We go onto this space. That's the first empty space that will put its rail. Take its topmost rail from its stack, put a worker on top, and we'll place it on that incomplete double railway. Since it's incomplete, we will keep it face up. Just make sure that this tile has been rotated randomly. And just to specify, the colors and actions of these tiles do not matter to the bot at all. Now that it has established a connection to this city, we can build. So now there's only one icon here, which is the government building. And since the bot has not built any of its government buildings yet, it can build any one of those three. So looking at the current decision card in box B, we see housing is the top priority. So we'll place its housing government building in that space. Don't forget to place it in its energized state automatically. Now that we're finished using this decision card, we can flip it back over. And now let's do the second action of its turn. Taking the top card of the deck, placing it to the right, now we see it's the special action card. Following the arrow here, it points to the bottom action of this card. It says, take the bottom action of the card to the left, then the bot immediately resets. So looking at the card to the left, it wants to urbanize again. Looking at the current decision card, we have City 8 circled, but we already know City 8 is completely filled. So let's go on to the second priority, which is City number 3, since that is the larger of the two remaining numbers. Remember, larger in size, not in value. City 3 has plenty of space to build, so let's have blue establish a connection here. Looking at the current decision card in box A, we have a big arrow pointing up and a small arrow pointing to the right. So we'll start in the up direction, going to the right until we find an available rail space. Take the top tile from its stack, randomly rotate it, put a worker on top, and establish that connection. So looking at the building requirements here, we have housing, industrial, and government. The top priority here on the decision card is industrial. There's only one industrial space in this city, so take the top industrial building, place it in its energized state, right on that space in City 3. Now that we've finished this bot's turn, remember the special action card was played, and it said once it takes that action, the bot immediately resets. So when the bot resets, you follow this procedure. First, reset and shuffle the AI deck. Then, choose one coal production area and exhaust 2 coal from there. So first things first, we will gather and shuffle up that action deck. Now you get to choose which of the 2 coal production areas you'll exhaust coal from. And when it exhausts coal, you always exhaust the cheapest first. Now the third step of the reset procedure says, if the bot has a milestone marker token in its play area, discard it back to the reserve and the bot recharges. Well, we already know the bot does not have a milestone marker token in its play area. So step 4 of the procedure says, otherwise, give the bot a milestone marker token from the reserve and place it in its play area. So you do just that. So now we'll know the next time it resets, it will recharge. So moving on back to the yellow bot's turn, we'll take the top action of this card, and again, it's a pretty easy action of gaining 1 achievement token. Second action of this turn is the special action card. Again, take the bottom action of the card to the left, then the bot immediately resets. So the action at the bottom of this card is a special action to the bot, which is called expand its network. This means the bot wants to place a rail token anywhere on the map. So again, first priority will always be finishing a double rail line. And since this rail line is about to be finished, that's exactly what it will do. Take the top tile of its stack, worker on top. We're going to complete that double railway. So now remember that the color combinations do not matter to the bot, but it will get the victory point income for completing that double railway. So both the yellow and the blue bots both get 2 victory point income. Don't forget to move their trackers up 2 steps. Now that we've completed that bottom action, the bot will immediately reset. So the first step of the reset procedure, you know, is gather and shuffle, reset that action deck. Second step is choosing 1 coal production area and exhausting 2 coal from there. Now it's up to you. It's, again, your choice which of those 2 areas they will exhaust coal from. But whenever they exhaust coal, they will always exhaust the cheapest 2 coal. Again, the third step of this reset procedure is all about if they have a milestone marker yet. And of course, they do not. So just give them their reserved milestone marker. Put it in their play area. Next time they reset, they will recharge. Okay, so now I don't know what these bots are going to be doing, so let's just see what happens. We'll play it out. So the blue bot's turn is gaining a victory point income. Again, we just move that tracker up 1 step. And the next action is another victory point income. So we move that tracker yet again 1 more step. Yellow bot's turn, and we're going to flip it over. Well, this is just too easy. We're going to gain another victory point income for the yellow bot. Second action is another one of these either or situations. So which of these 2 actions has he done the least of? So he's only urbanized once, and he has way more than 1 victory point income. So that means yellow bot wants to urbanize. So the circled city is number 8, but we already know is completely filled. So let's move back on to city number 3. And city number 3 he does not have a connection to yet, so let's set up that connection. Take the top rail, put a worker on top, and now we got to figure out where it's going to put it. So the arrows in box A are big arrow up, small arrow to the right. So going around that perimeter and up, going around to the right, this is the first available space. That's where it puts its rail. Looking at the type requirements in this city, it's pretty much just housing. So it takes the top tile of its housing stack, in its energized state and places it in one of these spaces. Well, which one? There's two. It places it in the one with fewer symbols. Moving on to this blue bot's turn, we're going to flip over the top action. Aha, so this is a contract action. We haven't seen this yet. The first thing with contracts is the bot will only take silver contracts as long as there are still silver contracts left in the stack. And since nobody's taken any contracts yet, there's plenty in the stack, so it wants to take one of the two silver contracts. That means we have to look at the current decision card, and of course it's the special decision card. So let's flip over the current action card to use its decision side. And in box A, we're just looking for an up or down arrow since we're only looking for silver contracts, and the big arrow is pointing down, so it'll take the bottommost silver contract. Now when it takes contracts, you'll ignore everything on the tile. It'll immediately fulfill it, so every contract the bot fulfills, you will immediately score it 4 points, no matter what it says. Onto the blue bot's second action of the turn, again is that special action card. Looking at that bottom box, take the bottom action of the card to the left, which is 2 achievement tokens. That special action card was played, so let's reset again. So reset and shuffle the AI deck, so gather it all up, shuffle it up, it's reset. Second procedure here is choosing 1 coal production area, exhausting 2 coal from there. So let's say this one, doesn't matter, we're just doing a bot versus bot playthrough, right? Third procedure, if the bot has a milestone marker token in its play area, discard it back to the reserve and the bot recharges it. That's exactly what it's going to do. Let's flip that bot reference card over to the recharge side and we'll follow this procedure. So the first part of the recharge procedure is it will place one of its milestone markers as high up as possible on the track according to the amount indicated by its achievement tracker. So let's look at the achievement tracker. Right now it's on the number 6. That means it has 6 achievement tokens. So putting one of its milestone markers as high up as possible, that's on the number 6, it has now unlocked one of the nucleums. Let's check that big arrow in box A. It shows a big upward arrow, so it will place its nucleum in the uppermost power plant. It does not get any reward for placing these nucleums. Second step of this recharge procedure is pretty simple, but a little bit different from the normal player rules. Usually you will have to discard all achievement tokens after you recharge, but for the bot you actually move its achievement tracker up 5 additional points. And we do that. Third step of this recharge procedure, give the bot victory points equal to the amount indicated by its income marker. Blue bot's income marker is on the number 6, so we give it 6 victory points. Now the final step of the recharge procedure says move the bot's income marker back equal to the total amount of milestone markers on the track. So far there's only 1 milestone marker on the track, so we'll move its income marker back 1 step. Yellowbot's first action is achievement token. Its second action, it wants to take the bottom action of that card to the left, which is expanding its network. There are no unfinished double railways to complete, so let's look at the map. It wants to expand its network to City 4. The arrows in box A show big arrow to the left, small arrow up. So looking at City 4, going in that direction around the perimeter, it's going to build its rail here. That special action card was played, so let's do that reset procedure. Let's reset that deck. Choose 1 coal production and exhaust 2 coal, anything we want. Third step. It does have a milestone marker token, so let's discard that, and we'll do the recharge phase. Looking at its achievement tracker, it's on the number 9, so it wants to place its milestone marker as high up as possible. That's at number 9. It unlocked a nucleum. We're looking at the decision card. Bottom arrow, that means the bottommost power plant gets that nucleum. Step number 2, let's move that achievement tracker up 5 more points. Third step, giving that bot that income of victory points. So it's on number 4, it gets 4 victory points. Fourth step, however, is moving the bot's income marker back equal to the total amount of milestone markers currently on the track, which is 2. Let's move it back 2 steps. That yellow bot has just triggered that King's Day scoring, and the bots do score the points for King's Day scoring. So yellow bot will score 6 points for first place, blue bot will score 2 points for second place. Okay, so at this point, I've pretty much explained everything there is to know. The only thing I haven't touched on yet is that when the bot triggers an endgame condition, it does score those 3 points. And besides final scoring, I think I've pretty much explained it all. So let's just barrel through the rest of this demo as fast as I can, so you can get a good feel of how smooth this can run. Blue bot wants to industrialize with the turbine. The main arrow in box A is pointing up. So it wants to place its turbine in the uppermost city with a nucleum, which is this one, but it needs to gain access to the city because it's not a part of its network. So looking at those arrows again, big arrow up, small arrow to the left. Going around the perimeter in those directions, this is the first empty space, so it puts its rail there, face up, since it's an incomplete double railway. Now that it has a connection there, it puts its turbine right there. Second action is going to be gaining 1 thaler. Pretty simple, gaining 1 thaler. Yellowbot's turn. First action is develop. So we look at box A. There's an arrow pointing to the right. So it takes the rightmost tile from the market, face down on top of its stack. Second action is gaining 1 thaler. Bluebot, first action is contracts. So we are going to look at the arrow pointing down because there's still silver contracts left in the stack. So it takes the bottommost silver contract and scores 4 points. 2, 3, 4. Bluebot's second action is gaining 1 victory point income. Yellowbot's first action is gaining 2 thalers. Second action is gaining a victory point income. Blue's turn, and it's gaining a victory point income. And the second action is one of these comparisons. So how many buildings has it built? Looking at the board, it's built 2. Victory point income, it has 7, so that means urbanization's the action it's done the least of, so that's what it's going to do. The top priority city in box B is 8, but we already know that one's filled. So looking at the next priority, city number 3, there's 1 more space available. It already has a connection, so it places its top housing building there. Yellow's turn. First action is going to be contracts. Looking at the arrows, big arrow up, and of course there's still silver contracts left in that stack, so it takes the top silver contract, scores 4 points. Second action here is losing 1 achievement token, so we move its achievement tracker back 1 step. Blue's turn. First action is gaining 1 achievement token. Second action is urbanization. Top priority city on this decision card is city number 4. The bot has a connection there, and there are available spaces, and all 3 types are possible. Top priority type is housing. Take that housing building, place it in that spot. Yellow's turn again, and we're going to do contracts. So big arrow points up. There are still silver contracts in the stack. This is the last one, so it takes that top contract and scores 4 points. And Yellow's second action of the turn is gaining 1 thaler. Blue's turn again, and it's gaining 2 thalers. Next action is the special action card, so it takes the bottom action of this card to the left. This time it's a comparison between urbanization and contract actions. So it's urbanized 4 times, and has only taken 2 contracts, so that means it's going to take another contract. That silver contract stack is empty, so now it can take any of the 4 contracts. So let's look at both arrows this time. Arrow pointing down and to the left, that means it'll take the bottom left contract, scores 4 points. Don't forget, when the bot plays its special action card, it will immediately reset after the end of that turn, so let's reset its deck. Exhaust 2 coal from whichever coal production place we wish. And since it doesn't have a milestone marker in its play area, it takes a milestone marker. Yellow's turn. The first action is gaining a victory point income. Second action is expanding its network. So looking at the board, there is a double railway space it can complete. So that's what it does. Now remember, the color combinations do not matter. We flip over the tiles and we award the victory point income appropriately. Bluebot's turn. First action, gaining a victory point income. Second action of this turn is gaining 1 thaler. Yellowbot is playing the special action card to the left here, so the box says flip over the next action card and place it to the right. Take both the top and bottom actions of that card. Then the bot immediately resets. So looking at this action card, the top action is develop. Box A, we're looking at the leftward pointing arrow, so it takes the leftmost tile from the market. Bottom action here is develop times 2, so it takes the 2 leftmost tiles from the market, placing them face down on its stack. So now yellow resets, gathering up its cards, shuffling them up, exhausting 2 coal from 1 production area that we wish, and since it doesn't have a milestone marker, we will give it 1. Bluebot wants to urbanize. It wants to urbanize City 13. City 13's filled. Second priority is City number 4. There's 1 more non-red space there, so it will place it there. For its second action, Blue wants to develop times 2, so which side does it want to take 2 tiles from? It wants to take from the right side. Yellow's first action is developing, and it's going to take the rightmost tile from the market. Second action of the turn is just gaining 1 thaler. Blue bot's first action of this turn is industrializing, wanting to place a mine. So on the board, there's only one more space with a bonus. So we need to set up a connection to that city. Place a rail there. There's only one choice. Places his mine down right in that city. Yellow bot's first action is develop. It's going to take the rightmost tile from the market. Its second action is that comparison between urbanization actions and victory point income. So looking at the board, it is urbanized twice. Its victory point income is at 6. So that means it's going to urbanize. Which city? It wants to urbanize in city 10. There's an available space, but it needs to set up a network connection to the city. Box A shows a big arrow pointing up and a small arrow pointing to the left. So going in those directions, this is the first available empty space, which is an incomplete double railway. There's only one type requirement here, laboratories. So it places its topmost laboratory on that space energized. Next turn, first action is contracts. Remember, there's no silver contracts in a stack, so it can take any of the 4. So which one? It's going to take the bottom right. Of course, don't forget to ignore anything on that tile and instead just give it 4 points. Last action of this turn is victory point income. This next turn is going to gain a victory point income. Second action of this turn is another victory point income for the yellow bot. New turn for the blue bot. First action's gaining 2 thalers. Second action is gaining a victory point income. Another turn for the yellow bot, and they're getting 1 achievement token. Second action, another 2 achievement tokens. Blue's action deck's getting pretty low, so after this, it's definitely going to reset again. So first action's gaining an achievement token. Oh, and it's going to lose an achievement token. Now, since it's ending its turn and there's only 1 card left, that means it's going to perform a reset. So we'll shuffle and reset its deck, exhaust 2 coal, and since it does have a milestone marker in its play area, it will discard it to recharge. So let's put its milestone marker as high up as it can. Right now it's at 14, so we'll put it at 14. Let's unlock that final Nucleum. Let's give the bot 5 more achievement tokens, give it its 12 victory point income. And looking at the milestone track, there's 3 milestone tokens there, so we'll move back its income marker 3 steps. Yellow bot wants to gain a victory point income. Second action here, the one on the bottom, is another victory point income. Now that its special action card was played, it will reset, exhaust the last 2 coal, and it will discard this milestone marker to recharge. Following the steps of the recharge procedure, first is placing its milestone marker as high up as possible, so 16. And now it's triggered a King's Day scoring. Yellow gets 6 points for first place, blue gets 2 points for second place. Now it's going to gain 5 more achievement tokens and gain its victory point income, 10. Last step of the procedure, we look at how many milestone tokens have been placed. That's 4, so we move back its marker 4 steps. Continuing on now with blue bot's turn, it's going to gain a victory point income. Second action, another victory point income. Then it's got to reset, so we shuffle its deck up. And since it doesn't have a milestone marker, let's give it that. Yellow bot is now going to do a contract action. It wants the upper right. Takes this one, gains 4 points. It is now a tie game. Second action, we see it's the comparison again. How many buildings is it built versus how much victory point income it has. It's built 3 buildings on the board and has 6 victory point income, so let's urbanize. It wants to urbanize in City 4, and I think there's 1 more space available. Yep, it's a red space, so it has no requirements, so it will just do its top priority shown on the card, which in this case is housing. Next turn for the blue bot, they are going to gain 1 achievement token. Second action is going to be that comparison just like we did with the yellow bot. The blue bot has urbanized 5 times and has 11 victory point income, so it's going to urbanize as well. First priority is City number 3, but there's no more room in City 3. Second priority is City 9. There's plenty of space available. It's already connected there too. So will it be a factory or a laboratory? The decision card shows factory. Yellow bot's first action is gaining 2 thalers. The second action is now that comparison between urbanization and contracts. It has 3 contracts. It has urbanized 4 times, so it's going to take a contract. Which one? It's going to take the upper left. Take it and give it those 4 points. Special action card was played, so we reset its deck, and it doesn't have a milestone marker, so give it that. First turn for blue, and it's the contract action. It's going to take the bottom left, scoring 4 points. Second action of this turn is develop times 2. So looking at the decision card, left arrow means it's going to take the 2 leftmost tiles from the market. Yellow bot wants to industrialize and place a mine. On the board, there are no more bonuses to be had with mines. So looking at the decision card, it wants to place it in the leftmost non-red mine space. So looking at the leftmost non-red mine space, it's this one, but it can't access that city since it cannot establish a connection to the city. So the leftmost non-red mine space is in fact this one. Its second action of the turn is develop ×2. Looking at the arrow, it's pointing to the right, so it'll take the 2 rightmost tiles from the market. Blue bot is going to take a contract, the bottom right contract, scoring 4 points. And the next action is gaining a victory point income. Stack of gold contracts is almost empty. Yellow's turn again, and they are going to take a contract. Well, it's the special decision card. We need to use the current action card as its own decision card to make choices. And we will take the bottom right contract from the display, giving it 4 victory points. Second action is giving it a victory point income, and now it's going to reset again. This reset, though, is going to trigger another recharge for Yellow. So let's reset Yellow's deck. We're going to discard that milestone token from its play area, and now it'll recharge. So its achievement tracker is at 21, so let's put that milestone marker as high up as it can. So 20 would be the highest it can go, but since it's following normal player rules, it has to go down to the tier below, since you can only have one of your milestone markers in each tier on the track. Let's give it 5 more achievement tokens, and let's give it its 7 victory point income. Counting the amount of milestone markers currently on the track is 5, so we move its income marker 5 steps back. Getting closer to the end now, so Blue bot is going to play its special action card. The top box of that action card wants us to flip the next card over, taking both of these actions. So the top action is industrializing, placing a turbine. So looking at the action card, it wants to place its turbine in the bottommost city with a Nucleum, in a non-red space if it can. So that would be here, but it needs to establish a connection to this city. Looking at the arrows, we need to go in the downward direction and to the right. So going in those directions, this is the first empty space, which is starting a double railway. Just put its turbine there now that it has a connection. Second action is losing an achievement token, and now it's going to reset, which will trigger a recharge. It wants to place its milestone marker on number 18, and it can, and that will trigger King's Day scoring. So blue is going to get 6 victory points for first place, and yellow is going to get 2 for second place. The first endgame condition is met, so blue player is also going to get another 3 points for that. And now we're tied again! Blue gets 5 more achievement tokens and 12 victory points. That tie didn't last for long. Blue is now in the lead. Don't forget that final step of a recharge. Checking this track, there are 6 milestone markers, so it moves its income back 6 steps. Yellow player is going to take a contract. It's going to take the upper left contract, and I think that's the final one, isn't it? Yes, so another 3 points for triggering that endgame condition, in addition to the 4 points that it just got for that contract. Yellow's second action is the comparison between urbanization and contracts. So it has 6 contracts and has done 4 urbanization actions, so it's going to urbanize. Where does it want to build? Well, City 8 is full, so the next priority is City 1. Looking in City 1, it's already connected, and all 3 types are there. So the top priority is housing, and it places it there. Bluebot's first action is taking 2 thalers. Second action is going to be urbanization. Since we have the special decision card active here, we need to use the current action card as its own decision card. Top priority for city is number 8, but City 8's full, so now we're going to go to City number 1. There is only 1 space left in City 1, and only 1 available space to place its rail 2, so now I can establish a connection and place its laboratory building and then space. Yellowbot's turn. It's also going to urbanize, and it's also using the special decision card, so let's flip this over, and City 8 is full. City 1 we know has just been filled, so City 2 is the final priority here. There's a space available, so first things first, it needs to establish a connection here, and since there's an incomplete double railway, that's what it'll do first. It will finish that incomplete double railway, and we award the victory point income just like normal. And since this space is a red space with no requirements, looking at our priority chart, it's housing that's the top priority. Unfortunately for yellow, it's out of housing buildings, so the next priority will be laboratories. Second action of Yellowbot's turn is again another urbanization, and they want to urbanize in City 9. There is a building space available, and this city's not in Yellow's network, so it's going to establish a connection by placing in that only available rail space. There is no type requirement, so looking at the decision card, it's going to place another laboratory. Another reset for the yellow bot, but no recharge because it doesn't have a milestone marker yet. Blue bot's turn, and it's the special action card, so we take the next card to the right, take both of these actions. So it wants a contract, so the bottom left contract gets 4 points, and 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the third and final endgame condition, so it gets another 3 points. We'll finish this round, and both bots get 1 more turn. The final action for this turn is gaining 2 achievement tokens, and then the bot resets, and it gets its milestone marker, since it doesn't have one yet. Alright, so this is Yellow Bot's final turn. So they are going to urbanize. They want to urbanize in City 4 first. City 4 is full. City 8 is next priority. City 8 is also full, so that means it's going to try and build in City 15. There's a space available in City 15, and it still needs to establish a connection to this city, and it has 2 options for completing a double railway. The bot always prefers to complete a double railway that it's started, so it will score 4 victory point income for that. And of course, it's going to build an industrial building in this space. And Yellow's final action of the game is going to be either urbanization again or contracts again, whichever has done the least of. So looking at its contracts, it's done 6, and looking at its buildings, it's done 8. So it will take the bottom right contract, scoring 4 points. And this is Blue Bot's final turn, and their first action is gaining a victory point income. And their final action is gaining another victory point income. That is the end of the game, so now we go on to final scoring. The bot scores very differently at the end of the game, and the first change is that the bot never places a new milestone marker on the track, like a player could. The second thing is that it does not score its buildings according to what's printed on them, but instead they will score 5 points per building they've placed, an additional 5 points for each building that they have in Praha. Blue Bot has placed 7 buildings, one of them in Praha, so that's 35 points plus another 5. Yellow Bot has placed 8 buildings, one of them in Praha, so that's 40 points plus another 5. Another change is that the bots do not score its milestone markers like normal. Instead, look at its achievement tracker and it scores that number as points. So Yellow scores another 26 points, and Blue scores another 25. Next, look at the income marker, and that's what they will also score as points. So Blue gets 10 more points, and Yellow gets 8 more. And the final thing the bot scores is 1 point for every Thaler, so Yellow gets 7 more, and Blue gets 10 more points. Blue Bot has won, 159 to 152. And that is how you play my solo AI variant for Nucleum. I hope you enjoyed, and if you have any questions, please comment on the BGG post linked below. Also check out my other solo variants I've designed, also linked below. Thanks so much.